Yeah, okay. I think everything's set up okay. I'm going to listen for a second on headphones because it's a kind of three-way situation.
Sure. Well, you're kind of like the pilot.
Well, that's normally more of a two-person situation. One of you would have to be the stewardess if we were doing it that way.
Or like the kind of millionaire being, you know, we're the pilots.
Right. And
Mike's kind of in the back. Yeah. We've got some
Larry
precious
Page.
cargo. Yeah. And he's got the headset on too. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, everything all right back there, sir? Just enjoy the view. We'll be in Lake Tahoe before you know it.
You ever been to Tahoe?
No.
Where's that?
Nevada, I believe.
I think it's in California. I do.
Really?
Yeah. So, Mike, I'm going to turn you up a little
disagree.
bit. I don't want to affect your performance. So I'm just going to turn you up a little bit here. And
how many people have done this top 20 list?
Well, we
did.
Things have been getting really intense, so we're taking a kind of an intermission on that stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's heated up. We started thinking it was top 20, then it got kind of. You should have seen some of the patron messages we got from last Sunday's episode. Ronan furious that Leonard didn't make the top 20. Hopes it was just something.
Cohen?
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
He hopes it was just an aberration. Hopes we can change it. Hopes we've got time to change it. And I felt.
Well, he's
this guy Ronan?
He's one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
But top 20
I don't
singers.
want to get too spicy right off the bat. But fuck that.
People expect this kind of.
Someone at work. This is years ago. Someone at work put on Cohen for a couple days straight, and I'm telling you, by the end of it, I was ready to kill the motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I realized I don't like him.
He's fucking singing songs about being in pain. My fucking ears are in pain. End of the day, mate.
Well, to each their own. I know you're more of a Gord guy.
Well, you were just talking. Well, of course,
when it comes to Canadian.
There's a crow flying by. You were just talking about how Def Leppard and Motley Crue are coming to town. That's kind of
I saw it in the province today.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of a province style
back page,
thing.
right?
Yeah, 100%.
One of those ads that's actually the front page.
Yeah. Exactly.
I just started watching that Pam and Tommy.
Well, I assume
movie
it's related
about
to
the
that.
sex
They're like
tape.
cashing in. It's kind of like
Get
Back
and the McCartney tour. Same kind of thing.
Yeah, it's
you hear about the new McCartney tour? Got Back tour.
No.
He's like, everybody said get back. Well, I got back.
Nice. I said get back.
I said get back.
So I got back.
So then I got back.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you wanted me to get. Do you think
wearing
he should just retire.
Fingerless gloves right now?
Yeah.
Kind of got a Fagin vibe.
Yeah.
You got to pick a pocket.
Oh,
or
that
two.
Fagin.
Yeah,
Not
not Donald Fagin. Yeah, wrong podcast. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I don't know. Do you think Donald Fagin would wear Fagin
Maybe kind of winter in New York
Oliver
or something?
style?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And you're
You
like...
look like the guy in Deacon's Blues.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I could play my sax still, like out on the corner.
Don't drive home tonight.
Yeah.
I can give you a ride home, actually, if you guys don't have cars tonight.
So...
Because we're all on these near beers. Shout out to Partake Brewery. Could do with getting these for free. These are expensive. I had to go to Choices.
Wow.
Which is a high-end organic grocery store.
I just would like to welcome back, as I know, not only one of our favorite guests, but as we know, one of our listeners' favorite guests.
Not one of our listeners.
The listener's favorite.
Well, there's a single listener who's actually it's our favorite.
No,
guest.
but because I know that
backed up by the stats.
For some reason, we don't know why. We can see our stats, Mike.
Yeah.
Our most listened to ever episode, we don't know why, is when we covered Traveling Wilburys Volume 1.
Considerably most listened
by
to
like
episode.
a lot of
by about 25,000.
It's the most ever listened to episode.
Second only to
The Eagles.
Oh, that was a
featuring.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell everyone I get drunk with at the Princeton about this podcast. I'm like, you want to know what I'm up to? Check out.
You want to check out
the Eagles episode.
You want to put in a kind of. You're worried about me? Just check
That's
out
probably
where my headspace is.
That's probably why.
Yeah,
and the
it probably
Wilburys is best left unsolved.
Yeah.
That one. I don't want to know. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, though, we've
I
got to
don't
be careful
wanna know.
what we say because I'm pretty sure, looking at the stats, and we all know that the stats don't lie.
No.
That's why we're trying to rank. And that's why we're struggling to rank, because we've got
Yeah.
to figure out exactly what stats matter. You know, we've all watched Elliot Friedman
Sure.
do the hockey. That
He
guy
doesn't know anything.
always has some kind of insider knowledge from crunching those numbers. Beautiful mind style.
Well, but when you're talking Friedman, it's to me the stats kind of don't matter.
Oh, right. He's more gossip.
Well, I'm kind of like in that panel. He's kind of like it's like who cares? Shut up. You know. But
He's got a podcast, you know.
wow.
So
He's kind of the Epstein of hockey.
But so everybody.
We'll talk
Lot of
about. Do you want
videotape.
to talk about Saget then?
well, before
Kinda,
we
yeah.
before we go on, I just want to say welcome back on the podcast,
Finally.
Mike Komaszchuk,
Yeah, absolutely.
dear old friend of
Drinking a power smoothie right
friend
now.
of ours. Yeah, we're all off the booze here, feeling powerful.
I feel fucking great.
And Mike's back. And Mike, just to let you know kind of how things have been going since that famous Eagles double parter,
Yeah.
we've been basically just ranking for about a year.
Yeah, straight.
We list, we rank, I don't know, tournament style pin bands against
Just
each other.
scraping the barrel.
Just
Well, also, what you'll
doing-
notice, and the listeners of Impossible Way of Life will have noticed, is when we used to, for example, do like, you know, a two-parter on like, you know, ranking like like talking about an Eagles record. Now we do like 6 or 7 parts, just trying to figure out the correct categories to rank 20 singers. And I'll tell you, we've still got a long way to go. So this
Yeah.
is kind of an interlude in ranking, and we're going to talk about.
well, we felt you were
Yeah.
you were such a esteemed guest that it was worth taking a break.
We need a
from
reset.
ranking
We kind of need a
to kind of
reset.
talk about something serious.
Serious,
for
yeah.
a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, top 5 singers.
That
go.
being said, let's rank.
Top 5 singers.
guys.
Top 5?
Yeah, let's hear
Okay.
your top
Jerry
5.
Lee Lewis.
Whoa,
The Killer.
Yeah, the killer.
number 1.
That's number 5.
Okay,
okay.
yeah.
I was like, that's the craziest number 1 I've ever
Number
heard.
4, Mickey Newberry.
Okay.
Number 3, and it could be number 1. It's a tough one.
I mean, once you get up there,
yeah. Keith Whitley.
Who's
Best
that?
fucking.
he plays
know
at the
Keith
Princeton
Whitley
on. Have you never been at a Princeton on a Sunday night? Fucking Keith Wilbury.
He's got his own night at the
Keith Whitley.
Yeah,
You know what? Honestly, not even bullshitting. I'm not even bullshitting you. Like, I'm talking up there.
yeah, up there.
He's up there. Like,
When he died,
yeah,
Keith Whitley. I mean, those who know, if you
Yeah,
know,
if you know.
you know. It's
all
one of the-
covers, all covers. But
Yeah.
you know,
No, that's the thing. That's what makes him so great.
Yeah.
He could do them all. Ray,
yeah,
Stevie, Willie, everybody better than them.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, no,
Okay.
enlighten me. I'm sorry. Who the fuck is
well,
Keith?
Thursday night at the Prince.
Yeah,
Thing, at
exactly.
Powell
Yeah.
Street.
Hands down,
All right.
hands down,
Hands
buddy.
down. He's up there.
Yeah,
Oh, and I love he said could have been number 1.
yeah, could have been the
Could have
one.
been
He's
number
climbing it.
Yeah, I guess
I really only discovered Keith Whitley like maybe 3 years ago.
Okay.
when you started going to the Princeton, like
Moved
when
back
you
in
hit
the
rock
neighborhood.
bottom.
Keith Whitley. R.I.P.
Yeah, yeah,
This one night, he was at the open mic,
yeah.
and he went home and he just didn't wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why they do that kind of every third Sunday of the
And
month.
a guy
right?
at the Princeton who thinks he's Waylon Jennings said, "That guy,
yeah,
best country singer ever."
I've ever
100%.
seen. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I should know.
And he's like, he was this close.
Done
He was
so
this,
much coke, I think, on Waylon Jennings.
he was like, he was this close
Yeah.
to being the next Travis Tritt. I mean, I saw it, and there
He
was a
basically
moment.
created '90s country. So let's just have a little.
Oh,
He died of alcohol.
okay.
As some of the
Let's
best
bring it back
do.
down to reality.
So you're saying, because we've got a lot of different categories for this stuff. How you think his legacy would be
These are the
huge?
singers that I love.
Yeah.
Listening
Yeah,
to.
of course. Okay.
I don't care
Who's
how
number
famous
2?
they were.
Who's number 2?
Richard Manuel.
Okay,
Nice.
respect.
I
That's
knew.
that's
I
nice.
knew. That's
Richard
nice.
had to be there.
Yeah.
Ties into
And
this.
really, Keith would have been second or first. I had to wedge in Richard there somehow.
Of course,
Uh-huh.
Okay, number 1's the Possum.
George Jones?
George Jones.
Okay, respect. You're kind of in a kind of tough country world here.
Yeah.
Kind of some heartbreak, some tough nights at the bar kind of music.
I guessed that Ray Charles would be top.
Ray Charles would probably be in the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's tough. George Jones could be the sort of country guy that we put in, I guess.
He's up there. I wanted Patsy Cline. I love her voice. And my top 10. This is my own. Her voice kind of gets me.
Has some of that kind of,
I don't know. I don't know what putting women in the top 10.
Exactly. There you go. There's this.
This is where this is now people. This is
let's get a little salty.
Yeah,
that's why this guy drinks Van Hoot coffee.
Yeah,
this guy's not drinking
best part
with
of
the grains.
Best part of waking up.
100%.
Van Hoot.
Yeah,
in your cup. Anyway, right on.
Well,
George Jones,
Keith Whitley.
I think Tammy Wynette's a fine singer too.
If we're going
11.
country,
yeah, she's. I mean, if
you're just refusing point blank to put a woman in the top 10, you're just like she can be 11.
Yeah.
What was your top 5?
I didn't figure it out, did I? I mean, I didn't rank them like that. I was kind of with the patrons where I was like struggling to figure out how to rank a top 5, how to rank a top 20, and then I really wanted to kind of get into the categories.
Yeah.
And like, because at first you're like, I'll tell you a little story, Mike, about what happened to Johnny. So Johnny, kind of, he came in hot with this kind of, these are singers that they get me. They get me in the feels. And then he spent a week recording and realized that actually people with true technical acumen and a kind of business savvy sense about how to approach music, like a Lou Gramm, a Paul Rodgers.
Yeah.
They needed a shot too at the title of Best Singer. So, just really changed it up. Really got confused and started.
Something to
Paul
be said.
Rodgers
I overlooked
needs to be
the
in.
technical aspect.
That is more like the American Idol approach to ranking a list, right? Like these are people.
To be fair, this was not necessarily about my personal list, but we did an Impossible Way of Life kind of a general top 20 singers list, and we felt technical ability needed to be represented at some point as well as artistry.
So who did it? Paul Rodgers?
Paul Rodgers, top 20.
Number 1
also,
all-time technical singer.
Yeah.
And also legacy, like he invented kind of the power frontman.
This is my theory. I think that if you think about it, he was kind of the first, if we're talking like just power stance frontman, that not like, oh, I'm into drugs and fashion, and I'm like a
he
personality.
came to get the job done.
He's like the Lou Grahams, the Steve Perry.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. They're kind of from the Rodgers.
I don't even want to bring up Roger Daltrey in front of this guy.
No,
that's the original
power frontman.
Yeah, no instrument, just sings.
Not even good at singing.
Because, you know what I mean? Like Jagger and Plant and all them, they're like...
Jagger would be that guy.
Can't
really
the dancing,
sing, but he's the...
dancing
Daltrey's
and doing...
Daltrey's kind of like... Daltrey always said, like, he's not he's not got any talent, but he knows how to fight. He's more of that kind of guy. Fucking East End gangster kind of
technically... But also, he doesn't have that, like, technical
ability.
Like Lou Gramm Rogers with the vibrato.
That came later.
But we're talking, dude, Free is 68, buddy. Okay? That's pretty early.
When did The Who start? 65?
Yeah, but he's not a technical... That's what I'm saying.
But he's a
mod.
All right.
He's got pecs. He's out.
If anybody...
Paul Rodgers, you ask, any lady.
Rod Stewart refused to follow Paul Rodgers on stage.
Oh, yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Refused.
He wouldn't go on. He said, I won't follow that.
Paul Rodgers.
Huh?
You bring up Paul Rodgers to any woman, every woman I've met, you say, put on Feel Like Making Love. People say that, like, Al Green, like you put that on, that's some sexy music, You try putting on some Bad Company. I mean, he really turns it up, and it gets heavy quick.
That one message board you read referred to his voice as oral sex.
Exactly.
AURAL.
Are they the only band that had a song title named after them and an album?
Their first song on their first record.
Yeah,
I bet
awesome.
That's a statement.
In 2 minutes we can come up with another
and the
band
first lyric. Oh no, it's just company.
Yeah.
Company. free.
It is a fucking statement. Though, yeah.
Always on. Oh, that's great. I was born 6-gun in my hand.
Yeah, kind of doing the Western thing pretty early.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another thing. Who did the Western thing in rock earlier? Desperado earlier than that, do you think?
No. That's later.
But, that's like where Bon Jovi
What do you mean, like
comes
the
from.
kind of... Oh, like that kind of vibe?
Well, like, that's kind of that song. Like, Bad Company.
Western.
Kind of has the
The
kind of
band
outlaw.
the band is the Outlaws coming to town.
Yeah, we're coming to town. Don't you lock up your daughters.
Like, maybe even like... I guess like James Gang were pretty early. They kind of did that. I bet.
Yeah,
Would
maybe.
Joe be in your top 20?
For singers?
Yeah.
No.
Guitarist.
Joe Walsh?
Guitar, yeah, for sure.
Guitar. I don't know about singer.
How would you rank guitarists category-wise? What do you
Same
think?
thing. Who would I like to listen to the most?
Yeah, but you
No. Here
it's-
we got to
come
give
on.
him a little context here.
All right.
So
give me context.
here's what we're gonna do. We're going to rank all these singers we're talking about. What we're going to do is, you remember how you had the old hockey cards? Or like in the video game, it'd be like all the categories, like
Power
offensive
rankings.
awareness.
Okay, yeah.
So we're
You're
going to...
speaking my language.
We're
Yeah,
gonna make
exactly.
cards. We're gonna
Stats.
make cards that have like it'll be a card for like Paul Rogers.
And the
on
listeners,
back,
by the way, the
it'll be
listeners
like,
right now-
out of 10 technical ability. Like
listeners are going to be fired up listening to this because we haven't explained this that many episodes in a row.
Yeah. So technical.
Yeah.
Here's the categories. Technical ability,
Sex appeal.
sex
Okay.
appeal,
yeah,
fashion,
Mystique.
Well, I was thinking more kind of like
legacy.
legacy, power.
I'm not sure about power.
I think power.
What do we have? Do you have the categories that we have so
off
far?
off my dome. I can
Yeah,
do
no, we
that.
got we got what were some of the other ones?
I think like you want to do like
longevity. I liked, who's still kind of doing it. Still
Yeah.
can
Well,
sing.
Paul Rogers.
Exactly.
He,
McCartney.
he lives
Yeah,
in
McCartney.
lives in Vancouver.
Yeah,
Well,
White Rock.
McCartney actually because his voice is really gone. He's just still out there doing it, but the voice is not there.
Right.
Really?
Yeah, he can't sing.
Track discography. Like what they're like what like so for example, your boy
I
Keith
think that's
from the
legacy.
Princeton, his discography won't be that
2.5
big.
albums,
Exactly.
That's some
Legacy
good ones with
huge.
Ricky Skaggs, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking
It's
about.
some other ones that were good.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
I'm having trouble remembering now. But anyway, we're going to come
That's
up.
the thing I like about Richard is that he only really had one album where he like wrote songs on,
Yeah.
What do you
and
think
really
it is?
only had like 2 albums where he really
crushed?
crushed the vocal.
What do you think it is about Richard? It's pure personality.
Yeah, and then there's not much of it.
Yeah.
so you can like
He's a
you can
shell.
idealize him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he's our avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is the impossible way of life.
Uh-huh.
So,
I got a little YouTube channel going
yeah,
with about 83 subscribers now.
and it's just Richard
Just
stuff.
this one show I've found the bootleg of them playing in like Oklahoma just before Dylan probably discovered them. And it's I think Levon sings one song lead,
Yeah.
and the rest of it is just Richard, and it's like it's a revelation.
Wow.
I got to tell you, I'm actually really excited to talk about the band tonight. And when I
So
think
am
of
I.
them, I say the band, like him saying the band.
The band.
And I was on like so much acid at like the age of like fucking 16, watching The Last Waltz repeatedly with my friends, and my friend Nick, who's listening, will remember that girl and the kind of like their band. But honestly, I don't know too much about them. So I'm excited.
Someone left a comment because I always thought, well, Richard just pissed his voice away and his songwriting talent because he drank too much, and
Right.
too much drugs. But someone listened to he did a cover of James Brown, that Please 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 song.
Yeah. Would he be in your top 10, James Brown?
Yeah, he'd be there.
Okay.
No,
He's up there.
he's up there.
Pretty
But
damn
someone's
good
like
singer.
made a really good point about his vocals. He's like, you know what? You can't sing like that every night
Longevity.
and like expect your vocal cords to survive.
For sure. Yeah, you've got to
'Cause
take
he's like-
singing lessons.
Yeah, he obviously didn't have the proper like
No.
Paul
That's
Rogers.
that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, because like that's what I was saying the other day. Is who did the scream
Yeah.
style?
Yeah.
I'm talking Little Richard, James Brown, even Paul Rogers,
Francis
Plant,
Black from the Pixies.
who still like in the 90s or something could still do that. that didn't have to turn to like a falsetto equivalent. Could still do the scream.
I think he was like a natural baritone. He was doing a lot of like tenor range, and just like you do that and you push your voice.
Yeah, and they're playing 20 years on the road every night.
Yeah.
Well, but he died, so like I don't know if he would have still been doing it. Like, I think Little Richard could still do it, like in the 2000s.
He was a vegan.
I don't know how the hell he
teetotaler.
did that.
Yeah.
He was a vegan teetotaler. He just stayed clean.
That's what Tony Bennett always said.
Really?
I think some guys realize it's their livelihood, and then probably like McCartney did this. He's like, I'm gonna like clean and sober, and
but he's.
I mean,
when he does "Hey Jude" at the end, dude, I saw the concert in like 2000.
Well, he's 75 now, isn't he?
Yeah. Ozzy, he looked good in those Jessica Simpson videos in the late 2000s, kind of tuned up.
Well, he's got the kind of voice you could do till you're 70.
What, so
Ozzy?
A bit,
fearful.
like because
I mean, it's pretty.
It's pretty high.
Pretty high.
Yeah, but they probably tune him down a bit.
Well, he's got a backup singer that sits in a crate backstage.
Well, that's kind of the Johnny Depp approach.
Yeah,
like having like,
and that's in the '90s. He had that.
Yeah,
going.
he was
had
already
like a hired singer to
in
like
a cage. Did you say, or in a crate?
Box or crate?
A crate.
In a box.
Yeah.
A mic'd up box like the ZZ Top.
He had a mic, and he could like peek out of the box. He had like a whole
figure
cut,
out where they're going,
and he could see like when Ozzy was just
changes.
going into a fugue state,
yeah,
and he would
100%.
like cover the vocal lines.
What kind of just like they ship him about in the crate?
Just like an LA rocker that they hired.
I'm just more interested in the crate bit of the story.
I wonder what.
Because like Johnny Depp has a guitarist hiding behind the amp stack, kind of a grassy knoll approach.
Well,
you know,
he can't
no
waste his blues licks every night.
Well, no, and he knows.
Can't
it's
expect
his money.
the audience can't expect him to play live every night.
Especially like how low his guitar is.
Is he touring, playing gigs every night?
Hollywood Vampires, dude.
Give me a break.
Oh, fuck,
you don't know about the Vampires?
I know about them, but I don't know. I thought it was just a 1 year.
Joe Perry, Johnny Depp. Alice Cooper,
scratch golf for Alice Cooper.
I don't know who the rhythm section is, but
I
it's
don't think
probably
it matters because when you're watching those guys, it's like you're only
they play
looking
like
at,
arenas.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, all covers,
or maybe not. Maybe like the Greek theater, more that. Kind.
I heard Neil was like jamming with like Steve Perry, Joe Perry.
Joe Perry?
Yeah,
Joe
right.
Perry.
Steve Perry
Joe
and
Perry.
Joe Perry should start a band.
Joe Perry,
I'd watch
Aerosmith.
that.
I think
he
Joe
was jamming
Perry.
with him, and he went up to his like keyboard player, and he's like, "Who's this guy?" He's like, "Oh, that's Joe Perry from Aerosmith." And
Neil
like,
in your top 10?
Neil liked it. Singer.
well,
or-
Neil, and he like walked away. He walked back. He's like, "This guy fucking sucks."
Neil's a fucking hard ass.
You know,
dude.
his legacy's I feel like he's in danger.
Legacy for Neil's
danger.
in a bit of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. If he's
I thought it was I don't want to talk about fucking COVID, but I thought it was a weird hill for him to die on. And I'm not even sure if you might know more about this. That he already sold his songwriting.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
that was
yeah.
like, was it his decision or not?
We talked about it kind of for a little bit, kind of. You know, we strung out for about 2 episodes on it, you know, which these days isn't much, but it was a bit. I agree in the sense that like he just kind of
you gotta think he's in a bubble himself.
It was a
like,
comfortable hill for him to die on as well, you know. But you know he's
on Amazon Music now, isn't he?
Well,
yeah, he's on
he just, like,
Amazon.
jump ship? That was
yeah, I
just
think
a-
he's just in bed with Bezos or something, and like Tidal maybe as well. It's seems like it's gone real quiet, that thing, real quick.
Well, it's a kind of a bullshit headline. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out some of these categories here.
Might have some guys jamming, and we're in my, ladies and gentlemen, we're in my jam space tonight, my studio jam space, and you know, we don't often do anything down here, but at nighttime, it's possible that there'll be a band start jamming next door, and if we're lucky, they'll start doing Supertramp covers. Yeah. If we're unlucky, it's a free for all. It could be like kind of like kids learning music kind of vibe. So we'll see. It's good when it's Ben Sinister though. They just play kind of Supertramp covers in there. It's
that's
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Stage presence was another one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So so once you start to rank them all, then some people will be really party hangability, party ability
style.
So like, who's a good hang? Who's a good vibe? You know?
Joe Walsh. Would be number one.
Richard. Pretty
yeah, well,
high.
if you're in the mood,
Richard might be pretty high.
would be
I think
pretty-
he used to. Well, yeah.
Joe Walsh.
I want to know a little
Paul
bit
McCartney,
about...
bad hang.
Yeah. Can we talk about the band's party kind of hangability? What do we know? Where do we start with that? I kind of want to be Charlie Rose today. Gentlemen, where do we begin?
I think you can begin with the fact that Robbie never rode the fucking train with them during that whole Festival Express.
Let's talk about
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Why not? He had like a limo?
Probably, I
Helicopter?
think he was just married and had a kid. And
He didn't seem like... Well, no, he did party.
Well, yeah, but I think he partied like he'd party in 1970 just by doing a lot of coke with...
Rash McCann.
But he wasn't like on the train...
I mean, everyone's
jamming.
seen Rick Danko in that, right? So,
Yeah.
I don't think he's partying like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Danko was definitely on some kind of
him
express.
and Janice drinking acid out of a...
It's a beautiful scene, though. It's a beautiful scene.
I got to see that again.
I like it when Jack White did his own Festival Express. Remember when he played some shows up north? He
Kind of
went
like a
place to
Woodstock
place.
99 feel.
Yeah, he did his own kind of thing.
There's something about the band, though. It's like anytime anyone tries to recreate, like cover them or do anything, like Robbie just did what would it be, like 30, 40 year anniversary
Like
of
60.
the Last Waltz?
Oh my God, 50 at least.
Yeah.
75.
They did one. Like Emmy Lee was there, and like Willie Nelson's son.
Fillmore?
Oh, it was like Nashville, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
But it's always cringy
See, that's
to me.
weak. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's because
it's brutal. Even the Last Waltz is kind of brutal to me.
Well, that's interesting. It's possible that
I got
that's
this weird
true.
thing with the band where it's like even when they do some of their covers, it's cringy. But
I mean, my experience of the band would be more knowing it through the Last Waltz and then being quite jarred immediately by the records. Be like, whoa, it's so lo-fi, like, and seeing it as this bombastic, coked up affair,
Yeah.
and then listening to the band or Big Pink and being like, damn, this sounds like it was recorded on like one microphone in a house. It's so much slower,
Like listening to the albums.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because they're less keyed up and
Yeah, they're
stuff.
far less keyed up.
And they're super
well,
dry,
they had,
too.
they had, at
Down,
one
actually.
point they had to like start touring with that
No, Last
with
Waltz is keyed up. I mean,
the
Majorly.
orchestra because
Yeah.
They had the orchestra. Like, it's something about like the drums are super dead and dry on all the records.
Yeah.
And at the Last Waltz, there's like 2 drummers on some songs, and it's like just got a lot of like room sound.
Pizzazz.
It's big.
they
And
had
the
to fill
horn.
a lot of sound because like Richard was fucking useless after probably 72.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh, I mean, it's painful to watch hear him sing some of those shows, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I
can
mean,
you imagine like singing like "Tears of Rage," one of those beautiful songs ever written, and then every night all you can sing is like "The Shape I'm In" because it's in your register.
Yeah. And
Like, you
it's
can't
kinda-
hit those notes anymore.
Is that kind of also like party mentality too, though? Being like,
I think so.
we're not doing Tears of Rage anymore. We're kind of more.
oh no!
Well,
I thought you
fuck,
meant
I
he
mean-
can't sing because if he
No, I'm
parties
sure
too
he
They
much.
tried to do the song, but it was like it's pretty bad. I mean, even like
I saw footage of him
Fucking
the other
like-
day doing "I Shall Be Released" like in the 70s, and even though it was really off, I still liked it. He was
that's
trying.
that's the thing. That's that charm, that romanticism
yeah,
about him. People
it
people
was
will
loose.
overlook that.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about the band? That I think, and I've mentioned this before, I think, Luke, this is Luke's theory, but I thought it was really good that he thinks that the whole kind of country rock, everything that happened is all comes from them. That like everything, it was way before like even like the Byrds and like Burritos and all that kind of stuff, that the band sort of brought it to.
They might have been the most profiled band of that year.
Yeah, and like through their playing with Dylan and like what
The
people knew of
Basement
it and
tapes.
stuff like that. Even yeah, like
They were kind of heralded as the second coming. Like it was a big deal when they came.
Mm-hmm.
They broke.
they made it cool to do kind of like, that kind of rootsy
Back to
music
the
and
Garden
make it
kind of
kind of
vibe.
druggy and like mainstream 60s or whatever. Like, and I think it was cool when and they were just doing it in a really authentic way. And then I think leading into the 70s with the Eagles and all that kind of stuff, I think the band were like the originators of that.
I guess
a
that
bit.
they don't get like put into that lineage because it's East Coast as well. Maybe it's like the Birds to the Eagles is the definitive lineage of like
Yeah.
confessional songwriting gone full retard and becomes just like we can like jock folk music,
Right.
Whereas the band are kind of like they're outside of it. And I'm not.
They really are, especially the first album. Like, what is the first? What's
I was
going to
say,
what is that?
What kind of music is it?
Yeah, like it's
carnival American music.
Yeah.
Because of Garth. Garth gives them a carnival kind of style.
Yeah, I think that
Clown.
it's like I think that genre was born kind of in the Basement Tape sessions. Whatever it is, like it's like creating this sort of a pastoral like version of America that once was in song or something like that.
I think like Robbie kind of understood what was going to happen. Like the Brown album, you
Like
could say
intellectually, you think?
Yeah, I think it was like the second album's more cohesive. You're like, okay, that's an Americana album.
Yeah.
The whole album's dry and it's got the
Yeah.
themes.
Slow.
But Big Pink's like, I don't
Yeah,
know
I guess
what
so.
any of that is. Like, what's We Can Talk?
And what's
what
the
is,
lineage
like,
here? Like, is
In a Station.
Is this any of this stuff before
Yeah, I guess so.
Dylan?
No.
So it's all. Is there any recorded music by the band before? Dylan?
It all starts with Dylan. Blonde on Blonde. The band is the band.
Yeah, of
on
course.
Blonde. So
well,
that's
there's a few singles.
like the Hawkins stuff.
Yeah, there's some singles.
but like
Stones I Throw and
so
there's
how
another
much is
song,
this
She-
to do
She-
with
He
Dylan?
Don't Love You?
Is this
Dylan, it all starts with Dylan. The whole thing.
So is he-
when you're talking about the band?
Is he
really?
the puppet master?
Well, he was the first.
Fuck you
He was the first one to do this type of music, for sure. Like, he was the first one to kind of go twang, but, like, be, like, an art rocker, too. You know what I mean? Like, on Highway 61 and all that. Like, where you're doing country
Bringing it all
blues.
back home.
You're doing
Let's
country
bring
blues.
it all back home.
Yeah,
What's
but
the
I
thread
feel
here?
like Highway 61 is more country-ish than
Trying to
Bring It-
figure out where it all began.
And then the
B of
band
the band,
toured.
you
The
know?
band became his band, and like obviously he influenced them super heavily, and they him like
Yeah.
with their musicality. And then the Woodstock stuff that happened was obviously super formative for both parties. And like I feel like all of the Robbie Robertson's songwriting especially kind of comes out of that Basement Tape stuff in a big way. I feel like personally.
Well, yeah, Dylan obviously influenced them to write songs and not just write like R&B tunes. Because like as the Hawks, they released singles,
Yeah.
but it was like R&B type.
But you don't think of the band as that as much now, you know.
You should hear these fucking concerts, dude.
I'm excited to.
I'd love to.
I'm
yeah,
gonna,
yeah.
You know what? 84 subscribers after tonight.
Stranglehold on YouTube.
That's your
Stranglehold.
name? You're the only Stranglehold?
Yeah. Amazingly, everything I do online is Stranglehold. No one's taken it.
Incredible.
It's
Wasn't
a gift.
that also your name for what else was it? Chess and
Gambling online.
gambling.
poker
Yeah.
rooms,
Oh
it'd
yeah,
be
you
Stranglehold.
always send me screenshots of
Of,
you like
me
going
winning
all
$400.
going all in on.
How's your gambling?
I quit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
I remember Mike. A great story about Mike was one night. He called me the next morning actually, and he's like, "Dude, so you gotta hear this." So I was out at 8.5 last night, and
Isn't that just like a sandwich shop now?
Yeah, so yeah, it's a
and he was like, I was drinking a lot, and just started playing, roulette on my phone. Or whatever, like, and he's like, and I just kept betting, and I was winning, and then I kind of blacked out. I don't know what happened the whole rest of the
Fugue
night,
state, yeah.
and I woke up this morning and had $5,000 in my account on the thing. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Also, he's like, I don't know, I must have just like blacked out and kept playing and winning. And he's like,
Beautiful mind
and I'm like,
style.
what are you gonna do? I'm like, right on. Like, you gonna let it ride? Or he's like, no, I'm buying a whole new living room set.
Yeah.
Still got it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice.
nice. It's a nice couch, actually.
Yeah. I think I've heard about the couch, mostly when you've been sleeping on it, I think. Or maybe you. I don't know.
I should also say that did a little bit of a heartfelt, quick story here that Mike and I, when we first met and started our group, the Shilohs, I never forget, speaking of the
I've
band,
heard of him.
that I called him on the phone after I'd met him, and I said, do you want to start a band? And he said, only on one condition. I never forgot. He said, only if we can all sing and write songs just like the band.
Very nice.
And I was like, sure.
Do you think that Dylan wrote The Weight?
No. I don't think so.
I mean,
Here we go. You know
this
about
is kind of a
theory, though?
Kasparov's wrong move style thing, to me. Kind of like, because I mean,
because he already gave them 3 songs on the first album.
So we had a theory though that it said that Bob Dylan. Okay, I gotta get this. So when Bob Dylan sold his publishing, this happened. They said every single song on there, and it said was included, and it didn't include any co-writes. And it said the only song that was acquired that Bob Dylan didn't write was The Wait.
Yeah, because he liked it so much.
That he bought it off Robbie?
Yeah.
Well, I had a theory that he wrote it at the time in 67 or whatever. He's writing so many songs hanging around there in Woodstock. Yeah. And he's like, here, this one's perfect for you guys. Take it and don't worry about it. Pass it off as your own. And then later on, Robbie was like, I'll give it back to you now because like it was your song. And if you listen to it, it really could be a Dylan song from that period. So. Think about it. Just think about it.
Think about it.
Robbie's cutthroat. We all know that.
Yeah, I don't think Robbie would go. I don't see the.
I could hear him singing it though. Once I thought about it, kind of pulled the guitar out. I was
Desire
like,
era. New Morning.
No, more like more kind of like John Wesley Harding.
Yeah, okay. So Woodstock era.
Yeah, that's
really.
What I'm
Motorcycle
thinking.
accident kind of.
67.
How many songs on that album does Levon take a lead on?
None, right? Or The Wait.
Think of The Wait.
Cripple Creek.
That's the next one.
Oh, which record are we on here?
A Big Pink. Yeah, I don't know. It does.
Listen to that, dude.
Holy shit, man.
That's a flanger.
He's got like 1.5 maybe.
He does a lot of harmonies, right?
Yeah, but he has a co-lead with Richard on Chest Fever.
Oh yeah,
and a co-lead on We Can Talk.
Yeah.
Now this is a band that like the lead singer for all their like road days was Richard. But the one song off the album, it becomes the single.
And that's why he kept singing?
Yeah.
That's
my theory.
Because they had the big hit.
Yeah, maybe.
That's like why they...
Well, then the next album, what's the 2 big hits? Cripple Creek and Dixie.
Yeah. Well, he's a great singer.
Oh, no doubt.
That's why they...
You take a sensitive man like Richard, what do you think it'll do to him?
Oh,
just
I don't even want to think about it, man.
This is going to be... I'm listening on the headphones here. Everyone's going to hear in the background this guy playing like My Bloody Valentine. Just a little bit. It's kind of nice. I can gate it a little bit. But, there's a guy like, this is I Want.
Yeah. Well, this is real life. We're here where the music happens. Like, who are we?
To stop this.
Who are we to say he can't play guitar? Well,
this
we're
guy
in here talking bullshit.
This guy could be Satriani in the making, for all I know.
This like the story you told me about Long and McQuaid, where like the owner came up and was like, "What are you doing? This guy,
that happened.
This guy's out. He's out there. You do everything you can to help him. He's out there making music. He's the reason we have this place.
This guy turns the lights out on this place.
Right.
It's that kind of energy. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I'm just interested about this, like, Robbie wasn't on the train. Like,
I think he's just on different
drugs.
Wavelength.
Like, not on drugs.
Well, I don't think any of those guys had a wife and a kid. That's the thing.
They're great.
I'm sure Garth wasn't fucking partying.
What's going on with Garth?
He's a tinker.
I don't know. Jazz, some people think that jazz is evil because it comes from evil people. But some of the greatest preachers on 42nd Street were the jazz musicians.
Who do you think wrote that? Marty or Robbie?
Paul Schrader.
Yeah,
screenwriter of Taxi Driver.
They got in someone.
Your guard just read this. I got a theory that on the Glass Waltz, when like
the Glass Waltz,
What's that all about?
That when Clapton comes on stage, that Robbie tells him like, just fuck with your strap a little bit, then like halfway during your intro.
Yeah, you have a theory about this too.
No, I think Robbie planted it.
If you watch that clip, he whispers in his ear, and then Clapton like fucks with his strap right away, and that's what makes it go undone.
I mean, Clapton
because Robbie's the type of guy that he'd be like, it looks so cool if I like pick up with you, know.
Well, of course, but I don't think
I can see
they're
it.
all coked out.
But
you
I don't think
that
Clapton would be down because Clapton's a cutthroat. But he's not going to let anyone outplay him. I think
he tried to join the band.
100. Well, I know, but they laughed him off, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. You see what he was wearing the day he came up to Woodstock there to try to have the balls to ask to join the band? He was like wearing striped pants and a blouse.
It's disgraceful. Yeah, well, I mean, true clown vibe, but just the wrong kind of clown, not a pastoral clown.
No, yeah.
But also,
Dylan's more of a
there's no way
jester
that,
vibe.
Robbie hasn't tabbed out and figured out that solo he plays. When he plays the solo when Clapton drops his guitar. That's a written solo. That isn't a jammed solo. You watch that.
I think they worked it out.
I don't think Clapton
they probably
would have let it
rehearsed the
happen.
whole thing multiple times.
I'm sure Robbie did.
Yeah, they had
in
it.
his,
They
like,
had
fucking
at least one stagehand doing the strap for him. Oh, here we go, Eric. We'll just cut the hole a little bit bigger, so it'll kind of hang on.
I don't think
All
Eric would have been okay with this.
Give it a little nudge. Just give it a little nudge with your elbow. It'll come right off.
You watch the clip. He
Eric
does it.
he'd been like literally sandpit heroin addict, like Brian Wilson style for the last 5. He hadn't played live for like 5 years at that point.
Right.
This is his first show. He's scared shitless, man.
Yeah.
And he comes out there.
There's a bunch of guys on that, isn't there? Like, isn't it Van Morrison's first public appearance in like a decade or something?
Stuff like that. I mean, when is it? 70.
He's
He
great.
comes out like Veruca Salt, like
It's
he's
Violet Beauregard. I think.
He's one of my faves.
I think
he's in my top
The Blueberry guy.
Top 3 Last Waltz.
he's in your top 5 singers.
No, he's in my top 20.
Van Morrison.
He was like 18 on my list.
You know what my problem with Van Morrison is
What?
there's too many 90s fucktards that try to sound like him. Like the guy from Counting Crows.
Oh, you think
or like
that's
the
his
guys
lineage?
Like blues. Yeah, his lineage to me just
Whoa.
kills it.
I'd never thought about that, but it's so true.
You think? Wow.
You think
Blues Travelers Van Morrison lineage?
Goo Goo
Oh,
Dolls?
like, you know, all those scatty fucking
Oh, the Spin Doctors.
shit like that. You know,
Yeah.
you feel me.
Yeah, I know
That's
what you
funny.
mean.
That's a funny theory.
Those guys who hit those quarter notes. I always knew there was a note in between.
Yeah.
That I guess Two Princes is Van Morrison
Yeah.
lineage. Yeah,
That it is kind of like early, kind of Brown Eyed Girl vibe.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Counting Crows guy.
Yeah,
it
I
just
big
kills
time.
it for me.
I see what you mean.
The
So
Counting
it's kind of
Crows
like,
guy, yeah,
like
for
he's
sure.
good. So it's like, sure, he's fine, but what he did.
What about the Black Crows? It's
kind of
like
yeah.
that could be kind of a them vibe.
Who was the first singer to do the hey? Like I'm talking like 70s to influence that type of like
Vedder
grunge style singing.
Well, Jim.
Morrison?
Yeah.
He comes from Jim, hey?
Huh.
I think. Well, I'm just
Kinda
throwing that out there.
Comes from Elvis to Jim.
Yeah, because Luke said Jim is Elvis lineage.
Yeah. I think that's, I mean, like, he's like kind of a bordello
I see where he's
singer.
going with that.
Yeah,
I see it.
yeah.
Yeah.
The kind of
Echo and the Bunnymen are in that
But I don't know if
lineage.
like
Echo and the Bunnymen.
They're
yeah.
in the Jim Morrison. They're the only band I can think
they're
of that are
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah.
Jim inspired.
Jessica. We'll get into her list
Yeah,
on the next episode.
but we can also
she
ask
was
her.
very. She was quite. She said, "Please, can Ian McCulloch beam on my list, even though he's more 80s?"
He's 100% 80s.
But I said
So,
we'd allow it.
Okay, sure. I mean, I like him a lot. But,
Uh-huh.
but she's gonna have Jim and Ian.
I don't know if she has Jim.
She's gonna have Jim. I mean,
Yeah.
she is Jim.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting. Like, because I'm thinking like.
I kind of want to think about some other singers from that era who come from the Van Morrison school.
In the 90s.
Black
Well, it's
Crows
a big
maybe
clown.
not
Maybe not.
quite,
But it was
Counting
definitely-
Crows for sure.
Yeah. There's
Spin
there was a
Doctors.
scene.
Black Crowes, no way. That's
What's
more.
what?
That's more
Dude.
Paul Rogers blues.
What the? Turn this mic off.
I don't even know if
That's
I'm
more
recording
blue.
it.
That's more or like Plant kind of blues.
I think they think they're doing that. It's kind of like Vegas.
That's what he thinks.
Hate
he's
crime
doing.
blues.
Yeah, it's but that's what he thinks he's doing. She talks to angels and all that stuff. He thinks he's doing soul like Otis Redding.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, the Black
They-
Crowes guy. I don't know what he's doing, but
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about Counting Crows.
What about
You
the
said
Goo
crown-
Goo
No,
Dolls?
I
You
said
did.
Black
Oh, okay.
Crows.
There's a lot of crows.
It's just crows.
Crows were a big thing.
No, Counting Crows, I'm with you. Van
Yeah.
Morrison.
yeah. All right.
Mr. Jones, now I'm hearing it completely.
It's killing me.
Even the way he kind of moves
He
around.
kind of has like a Violet Beauregard. Did he have dreads
Come on out,
too?
New
Oh, yeah.
Amsterdam.
Oh no!
Yeah, it's so Van Morrison. Wow.
What about where does Michael Stipe come from?
No,
for you?
see, that's...
we said
that-
Ian Curtis.
I've got
we
a
get back to
theory-
Ian Curtis for Joy Division.
I've got a
that's
theory
about
that
it.
there's that type of Gord Downey, Michael Stipe, Tom York. They're kind of intellectual nerd frontman
incel
singers.
energy.
Yeah, and
Kind
big
of-
time incel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of. You know where they're
Yeah.
kind of like, but it's
Stay out of the parking lot.
different,
100%.
different
Don't want to
than
bump into one of those guys in a fucking
different than like
university.
David
over.
Byrne.
Yeah.
David Byrne's
Dormitory
more
or
like
anything.
art school. You know,
Mike just doesn't know who any of these people
Yeah,
are.
what the
He's
fuck
just
is that?
like
he used to like the Talking Heads. He went through a big phase. I remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
likes the TV show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, the band.
The band.
So their lineage is
What is their obsession with carnivals?
it's Americana.
Well, here my theory on that is that once Richard stopped writing,
Uh-huh.
like Robbie had to.
Why is he playing
Speaking of
carnival music
carnival.
next door? It's the ghost of Richard.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
just started.
I think after the second, maybe you can include Stage Fright, but I think Robbie having to write so many songs killed him. Like, because some of that stuff, like Walcott Medicine Show, and
Yeah, what is going on
it
with
just-
all that?
I think he believed his own hype. Because like the second album was so good, those themes like King Harvest.
Yeah, King Harvest is great.
But he started writing to what do you call them
Doing like Lifehouse.
directly. Like he was
Pretty much.
Yeah.
he was self conscious of what worked.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah,
it-
so
it-
he became a pastiche.
yeah.
Yeah. It often does.
Which album has Life is a Carnival?
Cahoots.
Cahoots.
Cahoots is maybe the weakest one.
That was actually
That's
recently
bad.
reviewed in Pitchfork.
well, they did a reissue.
Yeah.
Probably why.
I like Northern Lights, Southern
Yeah.
Cross. It's a good album.
Even
Islands
I
is
love
pretty bad.
Islands.
You like that one?
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Right as Rain. Whew.
Can we get a little kind of discog order and like for me and the listeners, kind of where like where to start, where to end?
Well, you got to
Big Pink,
you
music
gotta
from Big
Pink
Pink.
and the self-titled one.
Brown album.
Yeah, well, that's where we're starting.
Stage Fright.
Stage Fright.
Still good.
Yeah, I like Stage Fright. It's good. Todd Rundgren engineered or produced it. I'm not.
Rundgren.
Lead engineer. Yeah, I believe.
He had his
At the age of
30
20.
fingers on
That's
everything.
crazy.
Yeah. Well, he was capable of doing that stuff in a house.
He got
know.
hired. He got hired. This is before he made Something Anything. He was so good that he went to New York, and this like agent got him a job working for this company, and they were like, "We'll try you out engineering a few albums."
Yeah.
And he did that, and he was so good that they got him, which is the craziest one. Then they hired him to produce that Great Speckled Bird record for Ian and Sylvia in Nashville, which is so good if you haven't heard that recently. And then from there, everybody like kind of like, I think then he went and did Stage Fright because the band were big.
Yeah.
And that was like, they heard that, being from Canada and stuff like that. And they were like, okay, he's good.
Stage Fright's got more like a rock. They become like a rock band.
Rundgren's
got like a-
Canadian?
No, but Ian and Sylvia
Yeah,
are.
they are. Yeah.
so
sorry,
like
yeah.
maybe
Prairies, right?
maybe the band kind of knew them coming up in New York a bit.
Maybe.
Well, they were on the Festival Express. Too.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Mash McCann were on it too, weren't they? Another Canadian band.
Then Cahoots came out, which is I like them all, but Cahoots for me is definitely the
That's after Stage Fright?
yeah.
Whew. That's a...
But it's like they had like 4 albums in a row, and it's like by the Cahoots, it's like Robbie's the only songwriter by that.
Is that
point.
because they're all just partied out, or they're just
Well,
like,
Richard wrote half the songs on Big Pink.
Yeah.
And to me, they're the better songs.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And then by the Brown album, I think he's just writing music. I don't think he's even writing lyrics anymore.
They should have gone the way of the Dead and just like got some lyricists in. to help because they're touring so much, they're playing so much, kind of they're at the house, they're recording. Get some people in to help out.
I think Richard just felt insecure that none of his songs became like hits, and like Robbie was having all the success.
You think being in a band with Robbie would make you feel insecure too? I feel like
he's so slick, right? He's like a smooth, charming guy.
Smooth, literally, because of the Vaseline.
Richard, if you ever hear him, I mean, he's like a country bumpkin.
Yeah. Robbie's a particularly handsome fella.
Yeah. He's a bit fragile, Richard. Kind of feel for him a bit.
You ever see Rumble? That documentary Rumble?
No.
About like Link Ray and like indigenous music and how it like was involved in the formations of rock and roll, and like Robbie's in the documentary a lot because he's like indigenous. He grew up in outside of Toronto.
Mom was
Six Nations outside of Toronto, and it's really interesting. He talks about like his relationship with being indigenous as being like a secret superpower.
Well,
like
it gave him visions.
Yeah, literally, So maybe like he didn't need to do the kind of drugs Danko was doing to get visions. You know what I mean? He was just kind of there. It was just like.
Well, I think he was just more driven. The rest of the guys were kind of from the country, and it was just a party for him.
Danko's my favorite.
I don't know his
why.
scenes in The Last Waltz are some of the most like kind of theatrical, when he's like in the studio playing his own tunes.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Sip the wine.
Yeah, exactly. I want to lay down beside
Sounds
you.
like the band though.
Yeah.
Like that one's very.
I love when he sings.
Oh yeah, I like his bass
Thank
playing.
God, because
I know. He kind of saves a lot of those albums for me when they're like, oh, okay, a Rick one, this is nice.
Like a ballad, big Rick ballad.
Yeah, or like, Stage Fright's great.
Him and Levon Revolution Blues, right?
Yeah, they did. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, they're down doing that Bobby Charles record too, right?
Yeah.
Rick produced that. That's not rock. To me, that's kind of, besides the fact that Richard's such a great singer, I always thought that Bobby Charles was like better than the band albums. Because it's like the band playing. Bobby's a great singer, great songs. You don't have all that fucking medicine show shit. Just like good tunes. And then it's like, that to me is like, I wish the other albums had been a bit more like, maybe if Robbie hadn't had so much of a hand in it all, they might have, or if the other guys had been coming up with good tunes, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Robbie tried to get too smart. Some of the lyrics on Cahoots are like, ugh.
Kind of like crazy, kind of crazy river style stuff.
Yeah, just like.
Where do we go from here? You ever seen it? For all of our listeners, if you haven't seen, there's a documentary by Martin Scorsese called American Boy.
Right.
That is very short. It's only half an hour long. It's about this guy named Stephen Prince, who's like one of the craziest characters in kind of film and music history of that time. He was Neil Diamond's tour manager, like in his early 20s, and like crazy drug addict, and then became really good friends with Robbie Robertson and Martin Scorsese. And anyway, all the movie is he comes into this house and Martin Scorsese just films him and he just tells stories from his life on camera. That's all it is for half an hour. And they're like in the hot tub.
So it's a short film.
Yeah. And it's just him telling stories. It is hilarious and riveting, and it's so good. And he tells this one great one. Like, he was like at The Last Waltz, like he's credited as like a props manager or something, but he's just like a party guy, like. And he tells this one amazing story that
they probably had to have their own merry pranksters kind of community, like on the East Coast.
Yeah, and he, you know who he is, Stephen Prince. He plays the guy in Taxi Driver who sells him the guns.
Okay,
he's like, it's a nice little gun there. You're gonna like that, yeah. But he tells this great story that he's like, Marty and Robbie were like, we were living in this house and they were editing The Last Waltz, and just like doing just nose candy like day and night. And he's
taped
like,
up the windows.
He's like, we had this house.
Rambo style.
We had this house with about 15 bedrooms in it, and there was this tiny little room where they were editing, and a tiny little couch on it. Like Robbie couldn't even fit on it, and he said he just slept on it every night. They'd be so fucked up. He'd sleep on it every night, and then he's like, about 3 months in, I just said to Robbie, I'm like, hey, we got about 15 bedrooms here. Like if you just want to crash in one of them, Robbie's like, that'd be great. Thanks, that'd be great. I always thought that was such a good story. He's so blacked out, he didn't even think to like try to find a fucking bed the whole time. That'd be great. Thanks.
They're sort of a bit mercurial as a band too, because they don't really show up, as far as I can think, on any like scene. Really, they're kind of like
No, they don't.
loners.
No.
They're never
Well,
on those posters you see.
The
of, like-
70s, though, I think Robbie partied like with Scorsese, like the film.
Yeah,
Because he was doing a lot of soundtrack stuff. I
Okay.
think he was in the like movie, but the rest of
Robbie
them.
was smart because he knew that the band was fucked.
Yeah.
and they were
A
fucked.
lot of you were like, "Oh, it's like he fucked the rest of the guys up." I was like, Robbie, I think blew through his money too, and like he just made a bunch of money doing film scores
Right.
throughout the '80s and stuff. Like,
Uh-huh.
have you ever seen The Man Outside? It's not like B movie with the rest of the band guys in it trying to do acting.
Oh no. I might have to.
There's like all Richard could do is punch a guy in the gut. That's his big scene.
That's cool.
When did Richard kill himself?
86.
I mean, that's bleak. Like mid 80s.
Speaking of Counting Crows wrote a song to him.
They did. I mean, there is something.
I think he was just trying to jerk off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's my theory on that.
You think it was a kind of
Blues?
Hutchins style?
He loved coke and shit too much to fucking
Hit rock bottom.
and kill himself.
Because the theory, and like I know that this is going to perhaps not get heated, but I know you feel very passionately about this, and I won't even argue it. Though there's a theory going around
Like recently.
that Robbie Robertson,
Killed Richard Denker.
because he didn't pay them or give them any songwriting credit, any of the other guys, that they were destitute. They drank and partied all their money away, and then they were like trying to tour and nobody was at the shows, and they were really, really in trouble.
Yeah.
And that Robbie wasn't helping them out, like wouldn't sort of do anything, and he was like living the rich and famous
Well,
lifestyle.
he planned ahead and got in with Marty, and he's like,
but these were his buddies, and they were kind of fucked up, and that they got so down and out that Richard wound up killing himself. And
that's probably the official story.
Was
And
Danko-
it's probably right.
Was
Yeah,
Danko gone at this point yet, or
He
is
died
that
in
late?
97
Oh, it was
from, like,
later of
he got
cancer.
I don't know. It was.
he had cancer, I think, throat cancer.
Yeah. You
I
go
think.
well, that was Levon had throat cancer.
Oh,
But
okay.
he kind of lasted long enough to kind of like get famous again, right?
Yeah, he did.
Robbie probably got him in a couple of movies, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Back channels.
We got guys playing fucking moon rats next door right now.
I can't
Some
tell how many
Zappa.
bands are over there.
I mean,
I think Robbie was just, as much as Robbie's kind of like swarmy to me, and I can't handle him telling me another fucking story.
yeah.
I kind of like got to stick up for him. I can't imagine like being in a band, you're getting big, and all those guys just, besides Garth, just like fucking throw it away.
Yeah, I
Where's
mean,
Garth?
they must have had dough. I mean, they must have had money.
This is
Like,
like some
even if they didn't get-
Richard
jazz
sold
next
his
door.
rights to Robbie for months.
See,
Right.
that's bleak.
Yeah.
Selling your rights to your bandmate who's like
Well-
not a cokehead at this point, maybe. He's like, I'll give you a little bit of money here.
Well, it's either that or he sells it to someone else. So you keep it in the family. Kind of.
True, yeah, kind of a trustee style arrangement.
I think it was revealing that when he did that band, like Once We're Brothers, he brought up the night that Richard like got in a car accident with his wife. And I'm sure
Tell me about it.
I'm sure there's a bunch of that shit where Robbie's just like, fuck these guys, enough's enough. Like,
Yeah.
You thought it was in poor taste for him to bring it up?
I think it's interesting that he brought it up.
You'd have to tell me about
Oh, because
that.
he's trying to paint a bad
Because
picture of him.
back then they got like they couldn't do their first show because they got huge but hadn't played a show yet. Because like they kept crashing cars, all of them. Like Rick got in a car accident and had like a broken neck. He almost died, and he had to be like, they had to take a sabbatical for a few months.
This is some like hobo style Americana vibes. They kind of have
They were just
a you
up in the
can't win.
Catskills.
Yeah.
Trashing cars
Yeah.
from their like
He
probably
was
record
hanging out with
fans.
Clapton. That's what I heard. And I'm serious. Apparently, Clapton was like around during that car
Yeah,
accident.
him
Well,
and
you
Richard
know-
used to love to drink together.
Well,
Yeah.
you know about Clapton and the kind of he was seen with grease
I
on
didn't
his
say
hands.
any. I didn't say anything.
But it's been said,
I just said what I heard.
yeah, that he was on Clapton's hit list, and Robbie got him back on video during the last waltz by learning a solo note for note and having someone mess with his guitar strap.
I just got to show you guys that big shout out, friend of the pod, Mike knows him, James Barone, drummer.
Right on.
He's out on tour.
Kind of a drummer name, that kind of a New Jersey drummer name.
Yeah,
Jimmy Barone.
Yeah, Colorado, but sure.
Yeah, no, but it's kind of got that like Tico Torres style.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. He's first night of tour, Beach House tour tonight.
Yeah, they're
congrats
they're
to
East
them.
Coast.
They're heading out on a yeah, but he hasn't played in the band the whole time.
Yeah.
And he sent me this picture. I think everyone's gonna love this.
Yeah.
He said, for no reason that I can see, this is on display in the lobby of the theater we're playing tonight, and it's an autographed Dave Grohl electric guitar.
Yeah.
It's just their enter to win with a picture of Dave Grohl. Then he sent me some more photos. There's also a Clapton one, enter to win. And then the third photo is an entry ballot that he's written my name on.
So you're
put in. So let's just say, I'm just saying,
you've got a chance.
I've got a chance to have both
Dave
a Dave Grohl and an Eric Clapton signed.
What kind of
both strats?
I hear they're giving away those strats.
That sounds good. That's
Jack
like a
White.
Pog, I think.
Yeah.
You know, those
Kind of
things
Gary Clark Jr. vibe.
We're good, guys. Thanks very much for talking about the band.
Yeah.